Want to do the damn thing? Let's do it. Oh, sounds like a family film.
So yeah, they're calling it the year of the spork. So it looks like there's a lot going on there. And so we'll cover some of the things here. We'll cover some of the things that you saw there tonight. Oh, is this small and quiet? Re-intro when the video is over. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
before you when you had the video on, I forgot to turn Discord through to the stream, so the first part of you talking didn't go out to the stream. So you might want to just do a good night, good morning, good night re-intro.
okay, yeah. Re-intro. I mean, without re-showing the video, I guess what I will say is, Eat Denver is something that we've been wanting to have a presence at for this year, 2023. And we're basically going to be spending tonight's meeting planning out the details and kind of refining our proposal before we hand it in to the DAO. So that's what most of tonight is going to be focused on. I think overall we've done a pretty good job getting the details together for the proposal. And, according to Wonder, which is what we're using to plan this out, we are 23% of the way there. So that's good. And so what you saw there was the hype video for Eat Denver 2023. There was a lot going on there, and so I'll break some of that down during our time here tonight. Let's pull this up here. Okay, so let me make this bigger. Actually, maybe that's better. And so, project summary. I'll refine this a bit after our call here, and add. Feel free to add anything that you think we might be missing. But our project summary here essentially is we're going to be going and hunting, maybe attracting developer talent to our protocol, and so that means we'll be making an effort to showcase the best parts of our protocol in relation to like the focus group that's the relevant audience that's going to be there, And so I think it's a great opportunity to spark conversations with developers that may be looking for something to build, and they actually have a specific venue for something like this. And so I think we should focus our efforts at the venue. They have a lot of different venues at Eat Denver, a lot of different events going on at the same time. But I feel like we could focus our efforts at these specific venues where this um, target audience is going to be. And so that's the first objective there. Of course, expanding the Aavegotchi community. And so, of course, we all know that many of our like developers, builders in our community are also asset owners and players in the game. So I think that would just come as this would just be kind of a natural effect of approaching that specific group that I just mentioned. But in addition to that, I know in the future you've put together a pretty comprehensive media plan, and so just producing the media, the process of creating the media, meaning actually approaching people saying, "Hey, we want to showcase what you're building. We want you to come on our little mini interview here, or we want you to get on a live stream." Doing those sorts of things will be really good for presence on our behalf, but also I think in a general sense, we'll also be promoting the Aavegotchi community or funneling people in to the Aavegotchi community. And maybe we can go over some, kind of what are some of the things that we could do in that sense, aside from the developer talent. I'm kind of curious to know what we could do to grow the Aavegotchi community through Eat Denver. That's something we maybe would be like a secondary goal, but I'm kind of curious to know what y'all think about efforts that we can make at Eat Denver that would be maybe not a whole lot of extra effort on our part, but would make that additional difference in attracting someone who would just want to hang out in the Discord and kind of check us out. What are some of the things? I mean, we've heard stickers and that sort of thing, but I'm kind of curious to know any other ideas you guys might have.
This a dual forum meeting, or are we all just in Discord here?
Yeah, I'm in Discord right now for anybody else that's in here.
Okay. um, is it time? Is this open floor to discuss that last topic?
Oh yeah,
I
this is
have a
open
thought or
floor.
two.
Yeah,
Okay.
anybody in here. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Anybody in here.
Okay. So uh, there's a few different things. We discussed this internally with Infinity Keys and what our approach is going to be because we're planning for it like everyone else is. Visibility, like the more swag that everyone who is a gotchi participator can wear consistently, the better. And the less obscure, the better probably, because you want them to know like that's an Aavegotchi or it just says Aavegotchi or Gotchi something. For like the onboarding of the normies, GMI is going to be there in force, coordinating, matching shirts that everyone's going to be wearing. It's also Denver, and t-shirts might not be the best thing. So like maybe hats are better, like the same hats that you're wearing all the time that people start recognizing. And then it will be overwhelming, I suspect, the amount of gotchi stuff that will be around, the 12 or so people in here, and everyone else that'll be going, that'll want to be repping. So like the more visuals, the better. Eventually people, I mean, if you're actively putting yourself out there, they'll approach you or you'll approach them. But when there is a situation when you're approached, to have like a 30-second to 1 minute elevator pitch, that's all you're gonna, like, you're not selling them anything, but or maybe you are, but that's all you're gonna really get out of people anyway. And if you have a mobile flow, be like, do you have a wallet? Okay, I'm gonna sign in, boom, now you're on my whitelist, or whatever flow that you can demonstrate in like 30 seconds. Be like, yeah, if you farm, boom, this is the APY that you're getting on this, whatever. Farming the glitter, blue, go ahead. That was less than 1%. Smack them on the butt. See you later. Um, go get them, and this is where you can find us, and like cycle through people. That's sort of what I'm planning to do in terms of Gotchi, because I'll have multiple things that I'm focusing on, but um, I'm kind of ranting a little bit, but that's kind
No,
of
no,
what
I'm
I'm
listening.
thinking
I'm
about.
listening. I'm taking notes and stuff. This is great.
Listen, that's what I'm thinking about. It's also what I'm thinking about in terms of Infinity Keys, but something like visibility, knowing how to engage, and then like there's gonna be those. It's a pretty open thing. There's gonna be like high value people that you'll see that you like really want to onboard. Like think about if you get in front of whomever, Vitalik, Gavin Wood, and do
Yeah,
like how are you gonna onboard them? And recognize who you're talking to. Like if somebody's APY driven, like lean into that. If they just want to play a fun game, lean into that. Lean into whatever. Um, Try to recognize as early as you can who your audience is. Because if it's a farmer APY person, there's plenty for them, but they don't want to hear about like the Gotchi verse and
yeah.
um, well, actually no, they do because that's where you're farming, but like they're less interested in mini games. So let's say in wearables and things like that, and so on and so forth. So
No, that's
that's
great.
how I'm thinking about it.
No, no, those are great. I like how you mentioned the idea of having a small elevator pitch and having a small exchange, but a meaningful exchange, because I think there'll be lots of those at Eat Denver, just running into people, and it seems like I've never been to one before, and so I'm just kind of gathering as much as I can from what I'm seeing, what I've seen in the past, and what people are saying. And so it sounds like a very social venue, even though there is a builder aspect to it. And so I feel like there's going to be many opportunities of these just very short but brief interactions with people. And so I think making those meaningful in some way, whether it's we had an idea behind like business cards, but I mean, y'all have all seen what you do with business cards. Someone gives you a business card, and then it either sits in your wallet or just shove it in a pile of other business cards. And I just don't know if that's like the best approach. But maybe like a sticker, like a fake Gotchi sticker or something with maybe something printed on the back that says the Twitter handle, or maybe has a cool like little blurb on it about Aavegotchi. I think that could be meaningful enough for someone to like look at that after the fact and maybe go join the Twitter, or like maybe
Certainly.
go to the Aavegotchi website. You know what I mean?
I also want to tie, we've mentioned it a little bit, but not so much in the proposal, but for the coffee shop event, I want to tie the onboarding to that event so that at that event, we're doing some kind of giveaway. So we're giving out this promotional information. It's also like, hey, part of this thing, we were talking about, like, as an example, five godlike, like in real life hats, very limited selection run of these hats where while we're pitching to people, we can tell them, hey, like this giveaway is going to be run via Twitter. So you have to go, there's a post, here's the post, the link to it. You have to go follow Aavegotchi, like, retweet this, and then we can do a basic retweet giveaway based off that. If we tie any prizes to our marketing effort, I think it'll be very easy to get, people to onboard and be able to measure that at the end of the day because we'll see a bump in the number of users or the number of Twitter followers over that period of time.
Yeah, that's something actually you just refreshed my memory there. So that's glad you mentioned that with the coffee shop event, because I think we could capitalize on that in a big way. And when a chair there was talking about significant members or approaching significant people, I also think about significant projects that might have done really cool things with Aavegotchi in the past. Think of like Freckle Trivia, for example. So, we should try and find out what like previous Aavegotchi partners are going to be there, and maybe take those opportunities to see if we can like get them involved with the coffee shop event, or at the very least like try and strengthen those relationships a little bit.
Yeah, I could
I
see
mean,
if
it'd be
we create
cool.
relationships, we can probably get the crypto Toon Goons and Cyber Kongs to, crash our party to make it a real big event.
I remember Lost Local had also mentioned something about getting in touch with the Polygon team and seeing what their venue is going to look like. Have we heard anything back from Lost Local on that?
We have, and there's potential alpha in that we can't really drop. It's like it's an arrow in the quiver that we have to wait until we get more information. But for if I could
Oh,
be like vague, it's looking like we might be able to do something collaborative with them towards an effort that I think will make it very easy for us to market off of.
okay. That gets me excited. I don't know to what extent you know about that, but I
Just look
definitely
at
want
our
to know
group
more.
chat for Denver and you'll see.
Okay. Sounds good. So there's some arrows in the quiver there, and some past relationships that we can build off of and leverage those relationships to kind of get the word out more. So that's awesome. Okay, and then for that last point there, I said we'll be capturing footage and media for promotion and social media engagement. And so, no future. I think you mentioned a few different ways we might be doing that. I know one of them is daily live streams. So daily live streams. Just off the top of your head, what do you think? Like, what sort of things will we be covering? Like, do you want to do like a daily series? Like, do you want to do like an ETH Denver like daily update series? We come up with a fun name for it, and we just have like a nice packet. Like, we just do one every day, kind of
Yeah,
thing,
I'm
like a
thinking more
vlog.
than one, honestly. But what's going to end up happening is, ideally, we're going to have a setup that is once we get there, I set it up. It just sits there, and we just remove small pieces like cameras when we go out in the field. So we'll be able to live stream, in the morning, in the evening, and then during the day, ideally, we go out and we capture content. The content will be either on our good cameras, most likely it'll be on good cameras where we're on the street interviewing people from our team, interviewing people on the street, and then as well as capturing B-roll and any kind of events that Aavegotchi is presenting at, any speaker roles, anything like that. At the same time, the crew will be constantly capturing video footage on their phone so that we have a big B-roll archive of footage that we can provide to Pixelcraft so that they can provide and create their own promotional content for the Aavegotchi main website. Throughout the day, images, video are going to constantly pour in. So ideally, I would love to do at least one rap video for, hey, this was our day at ETH Denver. This is what we did. This is what we're doing. But in a more realistic sense, I want to be able to add in, videos of interviews we do if we meet any interesting people, anybody that if we run into Vitalik and he wants to sit down for 10 minutes while we gotchi pill him, then that's a video we can release. That takes minimal effort in terms of editing. So stuff like that. But mostly, once we know more about the events, it'll be a lot easier. Like if we have a connection with Polygon, and now we can go and reach into the Polygon ranks and interview some of their big, like if Sandeep's there, that's awesome. But if we can interview one of their biz dev people about the future of gaming on Polygon and what they see, then there's going to be opportunities for us to create content that would be somewhat similar to the gotchi spaces, where through our collective collaboration, we reach out to other projects in our space, we can talk to them and generate interest for the social media, not just by presenting Aavegotchi stuff, but also other communities that we're engaging in.
That makes a lot of sense. I like the idea of the daily wrap at the end of the day, but also wrapping in footage that we're capturing throughout the day and including it all in sort of this daily vlog post. But then also pushing some of that B-roll, images, video. We can just maybe what we'll do there, what we could do is just open up a Google Drive just specifically for Eat Denver, and then we can just all just dump our stuff into it, and
See, we
then
should
that
do that
way,
for cell phone footage. It's probably easier in a Discord, but we could do that for cell phone footage and images. For larger footage, it's going to be a problem because we're going to, I know my camera, even if I'm shooting at the lowest quality, an hour of video is a few gigabytes. So uploading that, we're going to probably strain the internet that we have. So ideally, for the more professional equipment, we'll develop a workflow where we can get back to the house and pass off video footage, because I have SSD drives that are interchangeable for video footage, and SD cards. So when we have specific content, we kind of know where it is. We go and we can pass it off for editing, and then just crank stuff out. So it should be The way I'm thinking about it is as we start our day and do our live stream, then we go out into the field and capture content. From what I understand, our lodging is fairly close to the main events. So there's no reason that in dead periods we can't go back to the crib or to the lodging. Sorry, I'm Bronx talk. Go back to the lodging, drop off and offload video footage, and start the editing process while we have free time, and then go back out to events because there are going to be constant events, but there are also going to be like lulls. Like from what I understand from New York and in Miami, all the business stuff kind of happens during the day, and then more party-ish stuff happens at night. I don't know what a dev conference is going to look like for that, but that means to me that in the evenings we'll have ample time to edit and get shit together, even if we do decide to go out and continue the efforts to onboard and network. So during the day, we'll be capturing a lot of content. During free time, with the extra hands we have, we'll edit stuff down into packages that we can use for our live streams and distribution, hopefully through Pixelcraft if it meets their efforts, and then provide them with stuff to also push out through social.
Yeah, no, this is a great idea. And I'm just thinking maybe the approach that we take, like the way I see this going down is we wake up in the morning, we have our quick breakfast, we'll figure that out, just something quick and easy like we discussed. And then from that point on, maybe we do, I like what OXZ5 has put in the chat there, where we do a early morning live stream for the day, kind of what we're going to be doing. And maybe that's just a quick little 10-15 minute, this is what we're doing for the day. Follow us on our little journey here, and then we go out during the day, we go do a bunch of interviews. We could probably do live streams from the event too. Like I have the ability to like hotspot from my phone and just connect it to my laptop, and like I'm sure a lot of us do that.
The only thing is that's going to be at these events like in New York and Miami. You don't want to connect to public Wi-Fi just for safety reasons. But B, there's usually not a public Wi-Fi. So I remember in New York, we were like deep in the heart of a hotel. I have a Wi-Fi that I can provide to myself, but it's not strong enough just to access the internet. So streaming off of it, this is why I've said before, our efforts have been somewhat immature in approaching live streaming at these events, because most of these events will not confirm if they give us internet. So that's why the lodge is a big improvement, because we know for a fact that there's an Ethernet connection. So we know at the very least we should be able to get a stream up and a way to get assets back. Where at these other events, like we're in the middle of like in South Beach, the event for Polygon was in a big tent on the beach in the middle of a storm. So like cellular service sucked. So we can't really depend on that. But if it's there, we might be able to at least capture video and post it to social media, because a lot of that will also be a big part of this too. We're gonna have to figure out a hashtag for social media, Gotchi invading, ETH Denver, whatever we want to call it. And then not only are we providing content to Pixelcraft, but we should be very engaged on social media so people see what we're doing and we're just drumming up attention. Yeah, honestly, the biggest concern for me, and I think we mentioned it's a lost local, was batteries. Because I have stuff that will last for a few hours, but if we're capturing content in the field all the time, we need backup batteries. But that's part of our budget for equipment. Same thing with the monopods, and then a simple lighting setup so that we have good lighting in the lodge.
I do have like some industrial like battery packs that are like can charge your laptop like 10 times. Like it's a hefty thing. It's probably like 10-15 pounds. But
actually, you remind me, I do have a battery like that. I just don't know if I could fly on a plane with that because it's a big lithium battery.
Yeah, so I have that. It's like a lithium battery, and it's a pretty heavy duty power pack. You can run like multiple devices off it. So I could bring that because I'm driving down, so I can bring that. I don't mind.
Yeah, that'd be helpful when we're out in the street, in between shoots and stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really to consider. Yeah, I think capturing content will be easy because the big thing is just having enough people there to be A, on camera, and then B, to be behind the camera. Because I could talk all day, every day, and interview all day, every day. I do it for a living, but I can't do it while I'm also, holding a monopod. I can, but then I'm not on camera. I can do it. I've done it before. It's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, I think we can make it work with all our extra hands on deck that we have. Yeah. So, but the way you've laid it out here, it sounds like during the day is going to be like a content aggregation and connection making opportunity. So we're going out there and making these connections, kind of like what Chair just said, where you have like this quick little 30-second pitch or 1 minute, kind of like, this is what we're doing, this is why we're here, for those quick interactions, if we're going to have those. But for maybe some of the longer interactions, we can actually set up some sort of an impromptu interview, get them talking about themselves, what they're doing, why they're at East Denver. And then once we come home, we'll set a time every day when we're heading back to the lodge, and that's when we'll kind of like crank out all the content. We'll package it up, we'll send whatever we need to do to Pixelcraft. The rest of it, we can process it, we can post it on our socials. And then from that point on, I'm hoping we still have time at that point to get our shit together and maybe go out for the night, and maybe we select a few events where we might want to, events that fit our vibe. Like I could see us going to CyberCongs or Cryptoon Goons if they're doing an event. I think Gotchi Gang could show up there, and I think we'd vibe really well. And that's another connection making opportunity where we could maybe record some B-roll and stuff.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the one thing from being in Miami, I don't really think it's worth it. Like I went to the CyberCongs party with like my cinema camera, with audio equipment, with a monopod, and it just didn't make sense because that wasn't an Aavegotchi community. So it was really like we tried starting to just the initial like, hey, can we talk to you guys? Would you mind if we interview about Aavegotchi? And they're like, what is that? They had no idea, and it was like they're celebrating their own event. So that's a good moment for B-roll, like on cell phones. But it doesn't make much sense to go to those events with the idea of capturing, unless they're Aavegotchi specific, or like we have a presence, like we're doing a presentation. It's a little bit like it's a wasted effort almost.
Yeah, exactly. I'm seeing it the same way. I think it's more of an opportunity to like connect with another Web3 community. Maybe that's something that's a little bit more casual. Like we're not like we're not sending like a long pitch their way. We're actually just vibing, like just hanging out. And maybe that's a good place just to pick up some B-roll footage for that.
Yeah, and like I said, since there's like we've talked about it, I'm an editor, ZombieShepherd can edit, you can edit. We have at least 3 or 4 people with minimum editing skills. We're not going to be doing crazy graphics and motion graphics. We're just capturing content and trying to put out content. So I think we're underestimating what we can actually put out. I don't want to overpromise, but I think it'll be easy to put out content, because that's really the bottleneck: capturing the content and then having someone to edit it. Because we can always have somebody out shooting while other people stop to edit.
Yeah, 100%.
If we have a schedule, it'll be easy to like kind of allocate these resources.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have a really comprehensive media plan there, and I think the one part that we need to maybe get a little bit more definition on, that is a little time sensitive, is we need to figure out exactly what we're going to be getting for our physicals. And so what our physicals plan is, regarding merch on the Pixelcraft side, but also on our side of things, do we want stickers printed? Like I was looking into quotes today for stickers, and I'd be happy on behalf of GMI to print off maybe like 100 to 200 different kind of stickers that we can give out on behalf of GMI. But also we should think about the Aavegotchi Pixelcraft side and what kind of stickers they want to be giving out, because I think stickers could be a great way to make connections and just get that initial interaction going with somebody.
Yeah, I agree.
And so we can work on that. I don't think that's essential for the proposal. That's just something internally we need to maybe just sit down sometime next week and just kind of map this out with Lost Local, because I'm sure he has a lot of information on this. Okay, cool. And I see ZFi in the chat has offered to do some mobile editing. So technically we have another editor on deck. So that's cool. Yeah, humble bagger. Go ahead, man. Let's see.
Hey, what's happening? Hey, what do you think about having, like maybe during the Friday night calls, like actually kind of having, not like a rehearsal, but like practicing, like talking about Aavegotchi to people? Like, for example, I could be like a devil's advocate and ask questions like, what makes Aavegotchi's community any different than other NFT communities? Like just questions that to think about. So it's almost like when you go in there, you already kind of, you've got some practice, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think this is an exercise we can do before like the event, one of these Fridays, even maybe next Friday, and go through something like that where we collectively come together on specific points that like we could pretend like you're like a dev and you're strictly just curious from the developer perspective, and maybe you could pose a few questions that way, and someone else or one of us would answer back, and those would be helpful, especially for dialing in exactly kind of how you want to deliver based on your target audience. So I think that's great. That's something we could definitely include here.
I would also point out what Bearded said on the ETH Denver forum post, which did make sense. He asked if we were going to have any developer-driven peeps part of the team, because the current team is good for like onboarding, but for seeking out devs, we're not like experts. So part of the suggestion was creating a pitch deck, which this part of what we're talking about works well for. An idea that we have our pitch or a pamphlet or something that is paired with our pitch, so that we can, like, even if you're non-dev, you can go and pitch this to a dev and it still makes sense.
Yeah, and I think this exercise that Humble Bagger just mentioned actually would be great in helping us dial that in. So I'm going to put that on our agenda of like exercises we could do.
It would be cool if the more people that are listening to that conversation and providing feedback, the better. Because if there's 5 different kind of hard questions and it takes 15 minutes to kind of really come up with a good answer to each question, then everybody in the room kind of has that on their ready on the ready to go if it should come up, where if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So actually I just put a note in here. What we could do is we could get the word out before the show, and so at least we can get I find usually if we get the word out before the show, we can sometimes even get double the attendance. And so I'll make sure I keep that in mind for that specific Friday. Maybe we aim for this. Maybe we aim to do this next Friday. We could do that. I think that would work out. But yeah, great idea. All right. So that's that's the project summary as far as what I got so far. Is there anything else here that we're kind of missing in terms of like our what is the essence of what we're trying to accomplish here? What are we going out to do? I think we covered most of it. We got a plan for expanding Aavegotchi community. We had an objective of attracting specific developer talent, and we will be putting together some sort of a pitch deck at least for those quick interactions, especially. I think that'll be helpful. Yeah. We're going to tie some more onboarding related things to the coffee shop event. And we should maybe set aside a discussion around specifically that coffee shop event and see what sort of programming we want to do around that. If there's any specific ideas for engagement people might have around that. Like maybe we get Lord Trivia on. That'd be cool if we did some outreach with someone who's already there and is able to create that engagement. Maybe we get them to join us and do something at this event. That might be interesting. So
I have one more question for you. You had mentioned earlier about stickers for GMI versus stickers for Aavegotchi, and I was curious because it's not clear in my head what GMI's objective is in going to Denver. Is it to promote GMI, or is it to be an ambassador for the for the Gotchi gospel? And so it just seemed like there was kind of like acknowledging that there's some overlap, but maybe not clear on kind of if there's a priority.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say 100% the priority is based on like what the DAO would want to approve us for. And so right now, the way we framed it to the DAO is if the DAO is willing to pay for us to get there, and they don't pay for anything else beyond that, just to get there, that we would still be putting in that effort to make sure that we're doing our part to represent Aavegotchi as ambassadors, but we would still be pushing some of our own things at that point, regarding to GMI, regarding to whatever No Future might be doing. But if the if the DAO was to pay for compensation, now we're getting paid by the DAO to actually, as almost like employees, to do specific tasks. We would again be a little bit even more focused on what our objectives are here with getting developers onboarded, getting people into the Aavegotchi community. We wouldn't be so focused on our own community. And so that's the situation we're talking about here. And I think one way we could just at least get the word out about GMI is through some sort of a sticker or something. I don't think we're going to be doing active, like aggressive promotion around GMI or what we're doing here. I mean, we're a community tied to the Gotchiverse. We do some live stream events. We have some podcasts. I think it would be good to promote those things because they do indirectly benefit Aavegotchi. But I would say at this point, for what we're asking from the DAO, we're not really planning to like overlap our plans with what the DAO, with what we would be compensated for doing this anyway.
But so you think it would make sense that the DAO should fund this trip to Denver, but then that's it? Like they got to pay, the DAO has to pay a premium so that they send you to Denver and, incentivize you to kind of pimp Aavegotchi more so than GMI. I mean, just trying to challenge you a little bit here because I'm not.
Yeah, Lost Local actually is going to be having events going on, and Lost Local is the only Pixelcraft employee that'll be there, so we'll actually be working directly for and with him during that time.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, the two previous events that I've attended, Pixelcraft paid for my travel and lodging for me to go and be a hand on the ground, but also handle like videography stuff like that. So with this plan, they talked to me about Eve Denver back in December. So there was interest from Pixelcraft in trying to also get the DAO to help with this. So like my plans have always, my understanding is I've always gone to these basically not being paid because I'm an ambassador, and then I just do the they cover travel and lodging. But it was a little different before because Pixelcraft had a whole team of people that would go to these events. Where now we don't have Gravy anymore. And not as many people can travel within the U.S. So it's we end up working more under Pixelcraft in these events.
Right, as agents, essentially.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. There are going to be events that are, there's going to be those community events like with the Crypto Kongs and Cryptoon Goons. I'm sure that's going to be more like a party, but that's not going to be the whole event. The majority of these events are actually like networking events, business development events, and so I think that's where our focus is going to be. I doubt we're going to be going out too many evenings if we're going to be doing a lot of this stuff, especially editing and packaging content. I feel like it's going to take up more work than what we're already anticipating, and so I think the compensation currently presented to the DAO is really quite, I would say it's more of a really conservative amount, because even for Lost Local to hire help, just not even ambassadors or anything, just hands on the ground, is a significantly larger quote than what we came up with here. We basically just want enough to feel good and say, the DAO recognized our efforts. And, on an hourly rate, I don't even think we want to discuss what it works out to. It's probably, far less than you can make like working at McDonald's. But that's not the point. I don't think that's the point here. I think the whole point of us doing this is setting precedent for the DAO. And so, the ask is actually quite small for what we want to do here, what we're planning to do. And I think the value that's going to come out of this is going to be well worth what the DAO is going to be, providing. So that's just my 2 cents. But others might have different opinions, and I'm kind of glad that we're looking at it all this way, because if we're going to be talking about more IRL presence at events, on behalf of Aavegotchi, I don't think it's going to be 100% Pixelcraft effort, because we do like manage our own protocol to some degree, and so some of our marketing and some of our um, external outreach has to come from the DAO.
Yeah.
And
I think it makes
yeah,
sense too because I saw some people complaining that it was paid shilling, and for any project of any kind to be successful, you end up having to buy marketing. So that is paid shilling, any way you put it. So paying people that already want to show your thing makes more sense than buying marketing from someone who has no clue what your product is. And as Lost Local said, if he had to hire people, local to help him, it would be $25 an hour for somebody who doesn't know anything.
Okay, but if I'm an outsider, how do I like on a follow up? How do I know? Like, here's where I'm getting to. What's the downside of everybody that's on this call turning on their camera? Like, what's the downside in us all knowing what each other look like? And like, what makes Aavegotchi different than every other NFT community? And initially, to me, it was that we knew who the founders were, and I feel like personally, kind of coming out of left field here, I feel like Aavegotchi could crush it if like everybody in GMI was kind of known and put away this kind of fear that like somebody's going to dox me or somebody's going to come like kidnap my family or something like that. I feel like we're all good people and we have nothing to fear in just being like, this is who I am, and it's contagious. And I think that I feel like that's been a missing piece of the Aavegotchi kind of puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just saying this maybe yesterday with some GMI guys that I was talking about how important it is, like this anonymous stuff, especially like in the bear market and especially when people start to get testy, like a lot of people make claims to be like, oh, this is what I do IRL, but yeah, but you're anonymous. I have no idea if what you're saying is true or if you're just like everybody on Facebook who becomes a virologist the second there's a virus out, or a lawyer every time a crime happens. Like, so I think people being, open and transparent is important for a project growth.
yeah, and actually, as someone who is as someone who is not doxxed, it is up until this point I have been anonymous. I do see the value in what Humble Beggars is saying here, and I will be making efforts also post ETH Denver to have a larger presence, camera presence amongst the Gotchi gang. I actually do not own a camera, but I will soon. Yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying, Humble Beggar. I think that's something that people, maybe some people aren't comfortable with, and that's going to be their own self-limiting. Like I personally have experienced some of those limits. I'll admit that. And so there are trade-offs there for sure.
Yeah, no, I got you. But I mean, we got 10 unique individuals on this call right now, right? And I mean, if we're not having this conversation and it's just a regular what's going on this latest week, then somebody could jump in, and how are they to know for sure that like we're not just 10 AI created identities? I mean, it's the technology out there, and so I think the sooner that kind of everybody's comfortable kind of identifying as a member of Gotchi gang, I feel like that could set Aavegotchi apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Or I mean, I might just download the AI that allows me to be a different deepfake every week, right? So I'll be Morgan Freeman this week, and then next week I'd be Donald Trump, and we'll just keep going, just keep rotating through. No, it is out there. It's scary stuff, man. I did see someone doing running a deepfake program, and You could not tell the difference. It was very hard. All right, so I mean, just kind of want to move through this doc here, just with what I have so far, and see if we can add anything else. The current situation, just a quick summary of what the current situation's at, and feel free to add in anything you guys think I might have missed here. But the lodging's been secured, and I think No Future mentioned it's close to the main venues, which is going to be really convenient for us to not only get back there to process information, but also to wrap things up at the end of the day. And you're not spending so much time commuting through an Uber or taking, catching rides or whatever. I think our mileage is going to be reduced. Also, I am driving there, but given how close it is, we might be able to walk to some of these things. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know. Is Mike Callum in here? He might be able to speak on this just based on where he booked it. There might be some ability to walk to some of these things, or might still be out of reach there. I'm not quite sure, actually. Yeah. Travel plans have not been made yet. At least I can speak for myself. And I think many of you have also not made your travel plans to get there yet. I said I'm driving, so like I don't really have anything to plan per se, just my route, I guess. But some of you might have flights to book and whatnot, so we should be mindful of that. And I'm going to try and expedite this proposal and get it out before our Sunday Dow meeting, so we can at least get a glance at it before the meeting. And so, I don't think, has anybody booked their flights yet for this to Eat Denver? No. Yeah, so
No.
I think that was my impression.
When is it?
I'm actually got Willie, and I'm going to be taking my Sequoia, just in case there's snow and the roads are a little icy. So we'll have an SUV that can that can carry 7 passengers, and we can haul things in the back too. If we have to remove the seats or things like that. So there'll be an SUV available with fat tires or 4x4. Just in case the roads are really icy or it gets a little snowy.
Nice. I'll be bringing an SUV also, but it's just not a big one like you.
The GMI Weekly Syncopator meeting or whatever.
What was that? Oh,
Yeah,
I thought I heard someone.
I haven't booked anything because I'm more being asked to come and work versus me proposing to go. Like that's how it's been with all of these events. So I'm not gonna book not unless I get funding.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Okay, so yeah, once we get the word on that, and then we can book those flights. So that I'm thinking once the SIG prop passes, we can make sure that we have those concrete details down, at least regarding the travel plans. And then maybe a week from now, at least you can book your flight. So we're not waiting too long for that. All right. Event details from Eat Denver sources are limited, but being followed closely. So I know somebody here, I think it was Mike Callum, is in a group chat with Sandeep from Polygon, amongst some other significant members. I've been talking to Metaverse Johnny, who's a huge Polygon advocate. He's going to be there, and so I'm going to stay in touch with him. I might get a group chat going with him just so we know what sort of venues he has his eye on, because I think that guy has a good eye for that sort of thing. And so keep in touch with him, and we'll keep developing our docket as we get more details. But I think in a general sense, I did dig up some of the details, like some of the major venues that are happening. Discuss that in a bit here. Potential leads to piggyback off other community venues such as Polygon. So we talked about Polygon. There's some alpha there that we're not going to be revealing yet. There's also some partnerships we've had with Freckle Trivia, Kryptoon Goons, and CyberKongs, which they also have a fairly large community. So it'll be good to link up with their leads and actually just like do some networking there and get to know what they're doing and maybe just share good vibes. Team gear, merchandise, and sticker designs are in progress. I would say they're in the early stages of progress, and so that's something maybe we should maybe have some urgency on, especially on our behalf. I don't know what the timeline looks like for Lost Local or Pixelcraft, but at least on our side, we should maybe have a discussion around sticker designs and whatnot over the next week, and see what sort of things Pixelcraft might want, and then maybe we can just put our orders in for that. Current situation, I don't know. Oh, I guess we can mention the SIG prop itself. SIG prop will be submitted before Sunday. Make sure I do that. And then for the SIG prop itself, I'll probably take what we have here and just make it look a lot nicer and a little bit more concise, and then I'll put that up on Snapshot. Project details. These are just some things I dug up myself. So I think someone earlier was asking what the dates are for the project for the venue. And so Biddle Week is February 24th to March 1st, and that's like the hackathon that's taking place there. They have workshops. There's educational zones. They have a couple lounges for like networking, and so that's going to be like our core focus for the week. Actually, is that February 24th to March 1st part of the event is going to be that, we're talking about networking with devs and pulling them in. I think that's going to be a big opportunity during that first few days to make that impact. And even if they're little quick interactions, we can have those interactions, and I'm sure we're going to run into a lot of those individuals again at the core event. I'm assuming people will stay after the Biddle Week to hang out at the core event. So maybe we do a little bit of intros. We have some presents during that first week. We get to know some people that are expressing interest, and then the second time around, for the second to the fifth, we can follow up or just have those secondary interactions. The core event is from March 2nd to March 5th. This is something I don't have a whole lot of details on, and this is the part of ETH Denver that I think we're still kind of waiting to get more details on. And so I guess I'll discuss this with you guys, the core group that's going, plus Lost Local, and we'll kind of just update our own docket as we get more details on that. But I'm assuming within the next like week or two, we'll get like the bulk of the details, hopefully. I don't think we'll be waiting. I could be wrong, but previous events, usually it's like 3 to 4 weeks before the event, you can get most of the details of how things are going to shake out. The mountain retreat starts March 6th to March 9th. This is something I wanted to ask you guys about. Who is going to the mountain retreat? Because I don't plan on going for that from March 6th to the 9th.
I don't think I can. I mean, I think I would just be, after 11 days there, I'm going to be ready to go home.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I'm there. If I'm going, it's for work, so it's going to be just work.
My luck, I'll stay to ski and break my legs.
Yeah, I won't be attending the mountain retreat. So I think at that point, probably between March 5th and 6th, that'll be a wrap. I mean, March 6th, maybe as a team, we can do like a team dinner or something, just because I think we'll be parting ways at that point. So I don't, I thought initially it was staying till the 9th, but those last 3 days are just the mountain retreat. So I think Lost Local will be taking off. He'll be going to that, and the rest of us can maybe just hang out and just kind of part ways after that. So So just some details. I've already said this before. We all know this, but ETH Denver is the largest Ethereum developer conference in the world in Denver, Colorado. And the specific venue that everyone's congregating at, especially for the Biddle-a-thon and Innovation Festival, will be at the National Western Sport Castle. There'll be 6 stages and 5 educational zones there. So I'm probably going to have to get more details on that. But I think the educational zones could be interesting. And then the 6 stages would probably be like specific speakers. And so we can figure out amongst ourselves where we would want to get the most, where we get the most out of these like speaker presentations, and then also which educational zones would be most applicable to like what our mission is, what we're trying to accomplish. Then they also have a Biddle Hub, which is this one's more like developer focused on people who are actually working on something during that event, and so they have 2 workshop stages there, 2 lounges, and then they have biddling areas. So I'm not, I think we have to be a little bit nuanced in our approach, just specifically to where we're going to be. Like if we're at the Biddle Hub and someone's like working on like crunching something like on their computer, they're like writing some code. I don't want to be like annoying or like invasive, like maybe that's a venue where like there's a different approach to that. Maybe that is where you have those quick little interactions. But like maybe the educational zones or like some of the speaker presentations could be areas where we could have where we could actually have a little bit more of a obvious, or here, let's see what's in the chat. Or I wanted to say aggressive approach, but it's not. It's not really. I don't think we should be aggressive. Like you don't want to be that guy just like shoving things down people's throats. I think what someone said earlier in this conversation about having that visual presence, I think it was Chair, having that visual presence, it speaks for itself. There's going to be like 9 to 12 of us probably wearing, not 9 to 12, but like 7 to 12 of us wearing like some sort of Aavegotchi swag. So that'll be obvious in itself. The biddlers are someone who define themselves as, they just kind of describe on the website what these people are going to be like. And so I think that's just something good to know in the back of your mind. Like who is going to be there? What are these people going to be like? They're going to be people who like writing code, designing UX, managing product vision, marketing to adopters, something about regulatory naysayers. And then, of course, someone who's open, honest, not open, honest, but open, willing to learn, unique skill sets, that sort of thing. One sec. Yeah. 3 types of in-person workshops: skills, labs, and walks. And so skills classes are basic lessons on specific topics, processes, and techniques. I don't think that's something we'll be attending per se, like these classes, but they could be interesting points to interview people on. Like, hey, we know this class just finished up. We would know when that class finished up. We could kind of like be in that general area. We can interview people on what their experience was with these like classes. It's like, hey, how was that class? What did you learn? We can get them to talk about that sort of stuff. I think that would be more of our approach. And so, and then they have the lab. The lab classes are a little bit more interactive and provide hands-on participation, working with mentors, community leaders, sponsors, and community peers. So this could be a good place to approach, like we were talking about, significant people in the community. Who are these mentors? Maybe some of these mentors are people we might want to interview. And so those would be good places to kind of target for that sort of thing. And then the walks classes teach you how to prepare to deploy your projects in the real world. So this could be a great place to approach actual projects or people who are working on MVP concepts and getting them to talk about what they're building. Everybody wants to talk about what they're building. Those are, you talk to any one of us about what we're building. We will not stop talking about it. So I think this will be a great opportunity for that. Strategic value. This is kind of just repeating on what we put up there earlier, just kind of our main goals, what we're trying to target. And so one of the things we were trying to go through, and I, thank you Z5 for helping me get started on this, but I'll try and do my best to kind of work through it. Basically trying to figure out how we're going to measure our success, right? This has come up many times. Is like, how are you going to measure how successful you were at this event? There's like some of these things are a little bit ambiguous, but we want to be able to look back and see, like, if we gave out 100 stickers, Pixelcraft stickers or whatever, how many of those stickers turned into follows? Or if we ran a giveaway for the coffee shop event, how many of those approaches turned into community addition, like how Discord joins or Twitter followers, that sort of thing.
Before we change the subject on that one, I wanted to bring up the pull up. I believe someone brought up a pull up for the coffee shop event, and I was thinking, because I love pull ups, at the GeckoCon, the pull ups was one of the things that enticed me to attend certain events or concerts. But then if we can attach the pull up to like an extra raffle, if you own this pull up, then you qualify for the raffle for certain, I don't know, a parcel, or a wearable or a gotchi. I think that'll be that there's a way there to track the success, to track the attendance, from for the coffee shop, and to entice folks to register, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Something like that, I think.
No, that's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down here. Potential POAP distribution. So those are fairly easy to make. Could approach one of our like community artists to design something cool for that. Let's go back down here. Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that. We should actually include that, because it's, POAPs don't cost anything aside from if you're gonna pay the artist to do the work to design it. Aside from that, they don't cost anything to produce, but people will still want to collect them. Okay, so we got that. And so yeah, I'll just work through ways to measure. These are just other questions. I don't think these are all relevant to what we're doing here. There were some questions I did have that maybe we can I want your guys' feedback on it. Are there any like risks? Like, do we see any risks? Like, if we were to get this funding, what are some of the risks of this like not working out? I think that's something we haven't really discussed. But it's always good to look at that. It's like, if you're going to get funding, like, what are some ways where we could look back on this and say, maybe this didn't work out? Like, what could be some of the risks to that? I'm having a hard time coming up with them, but I'm sure there are risks.
That I could point out from the media side. One would be, we get to the lodge and there isn't internet. For some reason, that it's advertised they do have pictures of internet, and they say they have Wi-Fi, and there's clearly a Ethernet. But if that's not actually, like, if it sucks, if it's bad, that could be, that would hamper any live streaming, and that would be out of our control. The second thing, which would be a bigger issue for me personally, is if I get on an airplane and they lose my $20,000 of equipment, then I can obviously not perform my duties. That, I think, is a more minute risk, but it's a risk.
Yeah, and it does happen. I know those are two really good ones. Hot curly fry, that's a great recommendation. Whitelist would be measurable. So whitelist for like the giveaway, or was there something specific that you were thinking about? Just reading the comments here. Just getting addresses from those we talked to. We could do like a draw for fake gotchi cards. So it's like maybe we do like print off a fake gotchi specifically for Eat Denver. We get like Soju, or we get like Stellar Hobbs or somebody to make like Eat Denver fake gotchi card, Eat Denver 2023 fake gotchi card, and then we raffle them off. So it's like the only way to get this fake gotchi card is if you met up with the Aavegotchi crew at Eat Denver, and you were able to get your address on their whitelist for the raffle. That could be a great way to actually showcase. I'm going to write that one down. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Back to the risks. Do we see any other risks? Like, I don't know, like would there be any risks pertaining to aside from what we just talked about with the internet? No future possibly loses equipment. I don't know. Could add like.
I mean, we haven't considered the fact that, like, somebody mentioned weather. We can't plan for that really, but what happens if we get snowed in, like something bad? I don't know how Colorado really is, but is that a threat?
Yeah, it is. I just thought of one for myself. A key member attending Eat Denver can't make the trip. Like, like something, like we're driving there and something happens,
I mean, the other danger, and this happened in Miami, was, and I mean, it didn't really affect the whole thing. It affected the day I was there because I was only really I was there for 3 days, but for less than 48 hours. Like, I got in late one night, I did the events the next day, and then I left early the next morning. We had merch that was shipped to Miami that did not arrive on time. So when we went to the Grail to do the Polygon, the Magic Eden thing, Lost Local did not have any Aavegotchi gear. I had to give him my Gotchi Gang hat because we didn't, he was going to have no representation. We had no merch to give out at the events that we were at because it didn't arrive. We had some stickers and stuff, but as a footnote, though, they did stay for the weekend, and I believe this stuff actually arrived in time for them to distribute during the soccer event that they attended with the Cryptoon Goons. I'm not 100% sure on that. So that is a threat, too, because we are approaching about 1 month away, and we have nothing because we can't move without funding. So we need to – that's going to be a big threat to us, being able to get merch printed up and made and delivered in time, getting promotional stuff printed up and made and delivered in time. I can't really think of anything else outside of that, really.
No, these are all great. I can't think of anything outside of this. Like everything else is our intention. Like it's our intention to go out and reach out to devs and get contacts. And it is at the end of the day up to that person whether they're going to join or not. And so we can make the effort to do it. Ultimately, we'll have to be able to track that in hindsight. And so some of the KPIs could be how many stickers did you hand out? How many people did you get on your whitelist? How many POAPs were received? Those sorts of things, but we won't know. And I wouldn't say those are risks per se. They're just things that we have to measure in hindsight.
Well, we can measure social media interaction very easily because if our promotional and onboarding efforts are tied to some kind of hashtag, it'll be very easy to look back and see, oh, wow, they got all these people to actually mention the hashtag and talk. And hey, look, you can see that these people are devs, that there's follow-up happening. Because that's going to be the other thing, the realistic expectation. As a person who I do partnership lead, and I'm still learning this job, but I reach out to tons of people and get nothing back for a while. But a lot of these people eventually get to me, but it's on their own timetable. So I have to be persistent and keep going after them. So we have to understand that networking isn't just giving out a card, it's also taking a card and following up. So that's going to be very important in all of this.
No, that's a great point that you make. And I think that's where we'll have multiple opportunities because we're there for the whole event. So we're there for the whole bulk of the event. And so I guarantee we will be running into people we met on day 1 and 2 on day 6 or 7 or 8. That's going to happen.
Yeah,
And
people will
so,
incorporate into the crew. It kind of happened at Miami where we met Lord Trivia, and I'm sure ZombieShepherd hung out with him more than just the one day. And then, the Krypton Goons guys, we're continuing to hang out now in the metaverse with them. So it's, it does happen. It happened in New York. That's how I met Ernani. He came to an event, and then he started tagging along with Gotchi Gang for the rest of the event.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. I hadn't really even played Freckle before. I had tried to get onto it, my wallet didn't work, but then after becoming friends with them, like I've been doing Freckle ever since, so it totally works both ways. Yeah, I was wearing a Goon sweatshirt on Zombie Town tonight.
Yeah, I have their Miami shirts. And I have theirs, and then CyberCon's the event. I was like kind of annoyed because there was nothing for me to do, even though I brought all this equipment. So they were giving away shirts. I took like 10 of their shirts. I stuffed them in my bag. So I came back with a lot of merch. I've been wearing in New York. I got like 5 or 6 Polygon Studio tank tops. So I wear the same thing to the gym every day, and I just wonder if people think I'm just wearing the same clothing over and over again, or if they understand I have 5 sets of this like outfit.
Yeah. Just kind of reading the next one here. Want to respect your guys' time. I had this idea of actually it wasn't my idea. Someone put this idea out there of maybe we should have somewhere, it could have been Bearded, but maybe there should be somewhere where a dev that is truly like really interested in Aavegotchi, we can direct them to aside from the main Aavegotchi page where they could just see the builder's angle of Aavegotchi. So I was kind of thinking like a Notion landing page or like a decentralized web page on Arweave would be kind of cool. Something like what we did for District 420, where you could go to a page and it would have all the information for the event. But this would be more geared towards like, here are all the things built on Aavegotchi protocol. Maybe has some like technical information regarding the GitHub. Maybe there's some maybe just like some projects that have recently shipped, like the sandbox project that Gotchi Farmy did. Just things like that could just showcase like the ability to build on the protocol.
What I
would
would
be
say
interesting.
would be a great idea if we can get PC to be on board with this is that during the ETH Denver week or the main days that we're doing this onboarding effort, that on app.aavegotchi.com, you know how in the center we usually have whatever's the most popping thing, it's like DVMs or rarity farming. For that, we have ETH Denver, and maybe the link there is to a Medium article that is on like basically onboarding for devs, onboarding for the game. So we can just direct them to app.aavegotchi.com. Easy to remember. And then they can, it's prominently displayed there, or it's, a smaller tab. They can access and get access to that information that we're going to be regurgitating to them anyway. Stuff specific to the dev with links to like, GitHubs and all the open source articles, just like a way that we can direct them towards the rabbit hole that's simple without making them too intimidated. Because, clicking on one thing, oh, cool, ETH Denver, click on that, doesn't seem as intimidating until they land on the next page, which is like, woof, information. But if we can get them to cross that chasm, I think it's easier to onboard them.
And so what you're suggesting here is just send them right to app.aavegotchi.com, but on that site, in that usual, on the latest, whatever's the latest and greatest section, would have ETH Denver, and then pointing to kind of like a blog article, or are you thinking like a whole separate page that kind of like what I just described, where you would have like,
I'm thinking for ease of like bandwidth of devs, it could just be literally a hyperlink going to a Medium article that has links to the content, links to whatever giveaways, to the coffee shop event, what events we're going to be at, and also like general onboarding information for devs. Because that's our plan.
okay.
If we do that, we can then whatever pamphlets and things that we can give away can have that information. But if we get butt fucked and we don't get our stuff, we at least have an easy pitch because it's app.aavegotchi.com. We can simple stickers saying that will do the trick.
Yeah, this is a great. Yeah.
Pardon my language. Sorry, I got passionate there.
Okay, this makes sense.
Also addressing Z-Fi, I think I have COVID now, so at least we know that I won't get it again. I'm thinking, so we should be good.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
Yeah,
Everyone get your COVID. Yeah, just catch your COVID now and get it out of the way, and then we'll, Yeah, I think I probably had something. I don't know if it was COVID, but I had something going on a couple weeks ago. So maybe that was it. Maybe that was it for the season. Okay, cool. I think this is productive. I'll get this together here. There's a couple other questions, but we can work amongst, like, we'll reconvene as a group here, like the internal ETH Denver group, and we'll address those questions there. And I'm kind of curious to know what the Polygon Alpha is, so I'll go check that out after this call.
Just two real quick things before we go. One, can we all just try to remember as a group during the hangout tomorrow to mention this topic? Not go into too deep of a detail, but the second thing is what's important here. Can we make sure that this video, that we have links to this video, this chat tonight? Because I think we covered all our bases in a very meaningful way, and we can direct Gotchi Gang while they still have time before the DAO meeting to say, during the hangout, hey, this is a thing we're going to talk about tomorrow. You can hear us talk about this in full detail if you go check out this live stream that we did last night, so that everybody's walking in prepared and they understand the depth of this proposal versus us just, constantly being bombarded with, oh, they just want to go out there to have a party. Because that's not the intention here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Let's all agree tomorrow to and I'll make sure I bring it up at least once to check this out. We'll link it to the chat, main chat there, and anybody interested should be able to get the whole inside scoop just from this meeting. We did cover like pretty much every point, so I'm excited. We're 23% of the way there according to Wonderverse. We have like our milestone tasks here. And so we're still very much in the planning phase, but I think we'll quickly move into the planning phase to the kind of like the action phase. And, that's everything seems to be lining up. So, yeah, that's all I got for tonight. Does anybody else have anything to add in here for tonight regarding ETH Denver or otherwise?
No, just have a good night, fellas.
Yeah, this is good. Appreciate you all hanging out with us and chopping it up, and appreciate all the great insights. We'll catch up again with y'all tomorrow morning at the DAO meeting, or sorry, not the DAO meeting, the Saturday hangout, and that's at 2 p.m. UTC in the Aavegotchi Discord. Otherwise, if we don't see you there, we might see you at the DAO meeting same time on Sunday, 2 p.m. UTC. We also have our Gotchi spaces every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, with Golden Cross and hanging out with other like great communities on Polygon there. Yeah, that's all I got, friends. I think we can all call it here for tonight, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your week if we don't see you.
Cool, everybody.
Peace out.
See you in the morning.
Thanks, Efe. GM friends.
GM friends, thank you.